Okay, so let's talk about Speaking Access, an amazing tool which helps you use your computer more easily. And all those shortcuts that you can never remember, you can just announce by voice. Very clever idea. Christopher Mutch is from Canada. He joins us now to talk about it. Christopher, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Stephen. It's wonderful to be here.
So you got in touch and you told us about Speaking Access, this new software that you've created. What is it?
It is a program. How about the best way to do it, Stephen, is if I tell you why I created it. Is
Let's
that
do
okay?
it.
Yeah, that's probably the best way. Anyways, about 6 years ago, I was dealing with a customer who was blind from birth in a different business, but he was using a screen reader. I'd never seen a screen reader or never heard a screen reader before. And I got his permission, obviously. And he had no desktop. No screen, so it was all audio and NVDA and hyper fast. Holy cow, I couldn't believe how fast that he had that thing.
I know, it's so hard, isn't it? But you do tune to it. You do tune yourself to it.
I'm sure you do, but not me. But anyways, I was fascinated by it. So I went to home, downloaded NVDA, and tried to start playing with it. Stephen, I don't know if you can recognize it by my voice, but I am not under 50. So okay. I am stuck in my ways, but I'm also been around the block and I've taken on challenges. I couldn't get it. It was so difficult for me because being a sighted person, and I've done through enough experimentations that sighted people use interfaces different when they've been doing it for a long time, correct?
Yeah.
So I started looking around. It dawned on me that if someone had gone blind later in life, what a difficulty, because I don't know, a lot of your viewers might not know this, but there's, in the Windows environment anyways, there's over 350 shortcut keys for power users. And that some would argue that that's an underestimation. So anyways, I started going, well, this is crazy. And then I looked around and there was nothing available that would help me learn these keys, because for me, there's no logical association. Like obviously when you press L for link, fine. But when you get into things like the browser address bar or things that you use once every like 5 days or 10 days, it becomes really difficult. And not only that, for your sighted viewers who don't use NVDA, every time you go to look for help, you move away from your intended operation, which means that you forget what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? So I figured, okay, I'll try to invent something that's all voice commands, right? Because they're easier to remember. Because it's a lot easier to remember the browser address bar than it is to remember. I don't even know what the shortcut key is for the browser address bar in Edge. So that's what I started doing, started experimenting, and then what I did is I surveyed 70 blind people and asked them what they were after. And to shorten it up, what they wanted was a menu that you could execute. My program is all voice. There's no buttons. There's nothing. It's all voice. It has a menu that's audio controlled. It also executes the command from the program. You can control the browser, Word, navigate programs. It has all those commands in an organized searchable menu. It also has dictation and selection keys and proofreading, and it's all designed originally for the blind. And what I love about this, it was originally an audio program. Sighted people couldn't use it. I literally had sighted people listen to the audio. And even though the command literally says browser address bar, and all you have to do is say browser address bar, because they're sighted and that's the way they learned, they couldn't make the connection. So I literally I had a beta within 2 years, and I spent another 4 years or 3 years on visual.
That's
so,
interesting.
Is that enough information for now?
Yeah, that's fascinating. I just love the way you had to build the sighted interface, but you did that second. I love that, because it's always the opposite with us. It's always the opposite. We're always trying to shoehorn in accessibility with companies. We reach out and we say, hey, could we make this more accessible? And say, well, okay, but we'll need to think about a rewrite, or we'll have to, try and find a way. And of course, you've done it the other way around. You started off by creating this for blind people. Now, let me clarify this, because it's very interesting. Yeah,
Can
carry
I?
on.
Sorry. Just I want to carry on that point. I think that a lot of technologies coming out in the next 2 or 3 years will be blind first. For the simple fact is, blind people have a lot more experience in communicating through, like with large language models.
Yeah.
You are very succinct on your communications, right? You know how to listen to a voice, you know what they're saying, so, and you also know what works. In other words, a sighted person, when they're trying to make a program that I had a lot of help. When they're trying to make a program, they don't make the connection in that they close their eyes. And you know what I'm getting at? Is that a blind person has advantage over speech to text kind of technology.
Because they can always open their eyes. You can always open your eyes and look. I'm guessing you're sighted. Am I right in saying that you're fully sighted?
Yes, I should have said that. Yeah.
No, that's fine. But the reason I ask is because, sighted people always come to it with the visual first, because that's what we've all done. I mean, I didn't, I wasn't blind my whole life, not entirely. So I've always had some element of vision, much better vision when I was younger, and I used that vision as much as I could because that's what you do. But it does make it really hard, especially when you're learning a screen reader. If you're using the screen at all. You're constantly looking to see what the screen reader is actually doing on the screen, and it doesn't always make sense. So learning it from a sighted perspective to understand it is really challenging. So I totally get that. I'm fascinated by this software. So you're kind of building, because we've been talking about this a lot on the show, Christopher. This is why it's so interesting to me. We've been talking a lot on the show about how do you help someone who's starting out at the beginning when it comes to using a screen reader. They may know computing to some degree, maybe not. So maybe it's there's maybe a question around that as well. Does it help even understand the computer environment? Does it help someone learn to use Windows? But when you throw a screen reader into it, you throw someone who's blind into the mix, it does create a lot of challenge, and there's not a lot of support for people out there. What it sounds like you're doing is building that bridge to understanding it, but also by helping to jump over the hurdle of having to learn all these shortcuts, which is great if you know them, but a lot of people don't. And even if you know some of them, I guarantee you not everybody knows all of them. So having a tool that can get you to the shortcut is really powerful. You mentioned the shortcuts.
It actually exercises it's in the code. So what it does is when I say browser, well, I better be careful. That's the other thing. The speaking access is listening to me all the time. There's no trigger word.
Right, okay.
So when I say browser address bar really quick, it's so that I don't have to listen to it jump all over the place.
Got you.
But yes, so what the whole point of the program is that you don't have to remember any shortcut keys, because it literally translates any voice command into a shortcut key. And it's easy to remember like selection commands. I've also been able to, so say that you with the screen reader, a lot of the times you have to tab a lot, like tab.
Yep.
Well, I've got commands so that you can say tab key 10 times.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Got you.
And then it makes a click sound, and it goes click, and it does it 10 times. Same with the arrow key. I can do selection commands like select 5 rows above, select 5 rows below, move right 5 words, move left, that kind of stuff. Open file. So that's why I say 90%. The only thing, what I should say is the only thing it won't do is it won't go into, for security reasons, didn't put a shutdown command, and it doesn't go into the task manager.
Okay.
And NVDA, it's designed specifically for NVDA because it's donationware. Donate $10, by the way. It works really well with that kind of stuff.
So, talk me through these keyboard commands. Are we talking all the Windows commands, or are we talking a mixture of Windows and the NVDA commands as well?
Both.
Wow. Okay, so
Both,
it's everything.
Right? So it's everything. Like if I said browser downloads, it would go to the downloads folder. If I said browser favorites, it would go to the favorites folder. And pretty much everything in the browser is controllable. Everything in WordPad and Notepad is controllable. You can navigate programs. Okay, let's get another example. Perfect example is, in the right corner when you got the They call it the icon area for some silly reason. But it's always hard to find it. Or notifications. You get that ding in your ear, and you're like, oh, what's that darn command? Well, with speaking access, all you have to do is there's two things. You could go search menu and then say notification area, and they would find the command for you. Then you say it, and then it would take you to the notifications. Or the other way is you would just say, like, you can start out with the main menu by saying access menu, or you can say every list is broken up into, like, the menu will basically say, you'll say access menu, it'll come up, it'll say what list you're in and how many items are in that list, and then it'll read it out, and then you just say it, and that's how the menu is organized.
Sorry, what was that menu for? Is that for the program?
Commands.
For the commands.
Yeah, it's for all the commands. Yeah, so there's like 500 commands in there, right? Because, so if you wanted to say desktop commands, there's a folder in there called desktop commands. You don't have to say access menu and then move through it. All you have to remember is desktop commands, and it'll pop up. And I just got it. Just hold on a second.
It's done it already.
Yeah, close menu. Close menu. There you go. Sorry, Stephen.
No, that was interesting because, I can't wait to try this because I'd love to show people how this works, for them as well. But here's the thing. So I was thinking at first you were kind of saying this is a tool that gets you to learn the commands. But what you're saying is it goes further than that. It actually actions those commands. Can you learn the commands at the same time? Like if you wanted to know a command for something instead of saying it, would that be an option? Or is it really focused on you're just having the conversation? Like, say, for example, I'm thinking, what is that command to copy? Now, we know it might be Control-C, right? So would it tell me that command, or would it just action that command?
It would just action that command.
Okay.
That is a good question. I was going to ask people if they want that. I could put that in the program. What do you think, Stephen? Do you think I should put that into it?
I just think it's choice, isn't it? It gives you people more choice, more options.
That's why I was wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the other thing I was asking, I'll ask you, is would you think a version of my program just with the commands, the shortcut keys, would be good?
I think it would be.
Just so that people can learn?
So that people can learn, yeah, because there are some people like me, for example, who, so it's interesting. I'm probably not a good example of this, but maybe I am, I don't know. I've talked about it on the show quite a lot, Christopher. I have an essential tremor in my left hand, and it means that using the keyboard is becoming challenging. And so, for me, this is why this particular program, stood out to me, because I thought, wow, this is a way for me to control my computer without necessarily using the keyboard all the time. But at the same time, there are some keyboard commands that I just cannot remember. That notification one you talk about, for example, I always forget what that is. I'm always like, what is that again? And so just being able to ask, what is that command, or what's the command for? There have been some iterations of this in the past, but it's never been perfect because often they rely on AI, which gets it wrong. A classic example we used actually when ChatGPT and others came along was, what is the command in NVDA for screen curtain, where it turns the screen off? And it confidently gave me the wrong answer about 15 times. Confidently. And when I told it it's wrong, it would say, you're absolutely right, I'm wrong. Here's the answer, which was still wrong. Your program's not using AI.
No, it's all local.
Yeah, that's
all local.
That's going to,
because that was one of the requests. That was one of the biggest requests from those 70 people, is make it local.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's a lot of customers that go to a library, for example, right? Why? And not only that, logic. Why would you have a command go all the way to the internet and come back to control your desktop? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's autonomy, right? That was the whole point behind it, is autonomy. And before I forget, everything comes with a menu. As soon as you come in, everything walks you through everything, right? It's not just designed for blind people. In order to get the price down to $35 US, I made it cited so that people that have dyslexic, it also is for low vision people, because you can control the magnifying glass with your Windows magnifying glass.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Every shortcut command for Windows magnifying glass, including invert colors and change lens, is all a voice command. and you can go through them in the menu. And so each section, there's 3 sections. There's the main task area. And when you get there, all you have to do is it knows where it is. And all you have to do is say access help. And then it'll come up and give you the basics. And the same when you go to the menu, the same when you go to post mode. So post mode is when it's dictation designed for audio users. So you would say something like, okay, I would say, hello, Stephen, how are you? And they would come back and they would say, hello, Stephen, how are you? But the other thing it does, and then if you like that, then you just say, okay. There's 2 boxes in the post mode. There's the word box, and every time you dictate, it'll replace the text in the word box and read it out to you. And then when you like it, you just say okay, and then it populates the paste box, and it just basically glues those chunks together.
Wow.
And then, so what the other, and the other thing is it's also proofread mode as well. All you have to do is say proofread word box or proofread selection or proofread paste box, and it'll read out all the symbols and punctuations and numbers. So it would say, so say that hello Steve had, I'll read it what proofread mode would look like, right? Hello, uppercase hello, uppercase Steve, symbol, comma, how are you today, question mark. That's how I'd read it out. Because I wanted people to have the control, audio users to have the control to know what is being read out, right? Because as you know, you could have a sentence that says that the rocket is being launched, whatever, but in there's commas and periods and even a number sometimes of what the rocket is. So that allows you to, and that works on the screen read on the browser, which is default Edge, WordPad and Notepad, every program it works. It works anywhere in Windows.
And this isn't going to, I mean, as you say, this is commands only. So if I'm on a website and I'm looking for the download button, it's not going to find that for me. That's not what it's for.
Yeah, it will. You just say next button.
So right, so you command it that way, but it wouldn't be searching for something specific, right?
No, you would say next button, next form field, next link, next, or previous link, previous form field, or heading level 1, heading level 2, right?
That's very interesting.
I'm really proud of it, Stephen, and I put a lot of work into it. Customers are liking it. I'm making sales slowly. I've kept the price low. I haven't taken any angel investors because I didn't want anybody else to control the price. I'm hoping that the program is good and solid. It's kind of like Tesla's. Remember Tesla? Back in the day when they just made a really good product, and that was their advertising. That's what I want. I want the program to speak for itself because I'm a small developer, and I don't have millions of dollars to advertise it. And I also wanted to control the price. I didn't want it to go up to, because I had some people tell me I should sell it for 200, and I'm like, no, the whole point of this is to get a mass appeal. And
the more developers I speak to, and the more people who create product in our space, especially new people, will often tell us the bit that no one else will tell you, which is that, and what I say by tell you is tell us, the consumer, is that often you are told as the developer, up your price. And I don't understand that logic. I do understand it from the sense of people want to make money, so they think, well, we'll make a better margin because we're selling to a smaller customer base. But as you've figured out very early on, and sometimes you have to nail this point home, if you make the product available to as many people as possible, and of course, we've just talked here about people who, like myself, have got a physical disability as well, where using the keyboard is challenging, then you open up the market even more. And beyond that, to anybody, frankly, who wants to use a computer. So yeah, I think this is a great idea. I love what you've done here. I can't wait to try. I'm going to go and buy it. And
it's Windows.
It's Windows. Though. Yeah, that's fine. I'm an NVDA guy, so that's perfect for me.
I just wanted to let your viewers know that because I've tried Apple. Windows has a nice environment for developers.
Yeah.
I don't know about Apple, but I just wanted to let you know that you can run it through a virtual window on Mac. But I just want to I'm just trying to get all the information out.
No. You're quite right. You're quite right. And I think it's wonderful what you've done. So it's $35 US, and you buy it through your website?
No, went through, Windows Store. I went
Windows
through
Store.
the Windows
Okay.
Store. Yeah, because they just make things so much easier.
Yeah.
And I don't have to try to collect money. I don't have to keep track of credit cards and all that stuff.
Fantastic.
And
So
they
you,
just send me my monthly check.
that's what we want. That's it. Absolutely.
That's what we want. Yep.
Well, you'll
Bring
get
on the money.
$35 from me because I'm going to test this out. I'm going to test
thank
this
you.
out.
Well, you also get a 30-day free trial.
Okay.
So you don't have to. So just to let your listeners to know that as well.
Well, I listen, I wish you all the best with it. I can't wait to try it out. I'll do a little demo on the show as well for people so they can see it in action. And, I look forward to testing it because for me, this is something I think I would really benefit from. I think also the fact there's no AI in it, as much as I'm a fan of the AI, I don't want it everywhere. And, I like the idea of this because you're absolutely right. I don't need, some server, in Kentucky to be, having my data bounced off in order to, just get to the browser bar. It doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, this makes a lot of sense. I wish you well with it, Christopher.
Can I just get one more plug in?
Of course.
Okay, the website is speakingaccess.com, but hopefully I can come over and talk to you. What I've done is Speaking Access, the dictation it's really good and I'm really proud of it, but that was the weak point. Right now, within the next couple of weeks, I am coming out with a dictating software. I'll sell it for $12. And what it does is it uses local Whisper AI, and its translation is you start dictation, like you use the commands, and you say start dictating, and then you just talk, and then you dictate into it, you say stop, and then it'll take about 30 seconds to transcribe it, and then it'll come out. Its accuracy is just beautiful. The other thing the program will do is it'll capture up to 7 minutes of your audio for transcribing. So I just wanted to plug that.
Well, that's wonderful because it's interesting. As I've just said, AI is great, but I do feel it does sometimes need to be boxed in a little bit in terms of, if you can take it and you can use it for a particular task, like dictation, which it is very good at, then that is a great way to use it. Now, you're saying that's local. That means that essentially it's on your computer. Your words are not going beyond your machine. It's private.
Yes, and not only that, the interface is designed the same way as this one. If you can double check it, you just say proofread, and it'll read out you can understand what's going on. It's not going to be, you don't have to try to go over it with NVDA one word at a time.
And I guess you must be, because I am testing all these things out. I'm testing out Co-work, which can take control of my computer and click buttons and do all kinds of amazing things. And, the interfaces are challenging. That's the only problem. I do find that the interfaces to use these tools, they're not perfect for blind people. And I look at this, and then I look at the capability of computers and how we're, the machines are getting better and better all the time, especially at that ability to do things locally. So you're not having to send, data requests out to the cloud all the time. And I wonder from your perspective as a developer, you're looking at this as a complete toy box to say, wow, the things I could create here potentially for blind people.
Blast.
You could essentially build a computer controlled or voice controlled computer essentially.
That's what I've done. Yeah, that's the only thing I need to do right now, and I've almost got it done, is so you don't have to use a microphone headset. I'm just this close, because that's the only thing. I want to be able to control it without the microphone headset, and a lot of customers do, but it's a lot more complicated than you would think.
Right.
But it's doable. I've done it.
You still need a microphone, I'm guessing, right? Are you talking about the laptop microphone rather than a headset?
Oh, you can use a laptop microphone, but because it's because you can interrupt it, when you talk into it, you can control it through your microphone, but the feedback, because it's meant to be interrupted, like when the audio is speaking out the menu, you don't want to have to listen to the whole menu if it's got 9 items and you want the first item. So you interrupt it. So if you've got just the laptop window open and you're using the speakers, then its own voice will interfere.
It's interrupting itself.
With it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to be able to interrupt it. Otherwise, it's just a massive waste of time.
Yeah, any of us who've tried Android phones in the past, not now, but in the past, that used to be a common fault.
Oh, really?
It was constantly interrupting it. Yeah, because you'd have this talkback and back then, Bixby and whatever the assistant was back then at the time with Google, it was always interrupting itself. You couldn't have a conversation with it.
Yeah. I mean, just a quick trick. You can do it if you take it's got to be a cheap pair of speakers. You plug it into the audio out and you take the speakers and you put it behind the laptop, then you're fine.
Right.
Because then the voice doesn't come back at it. But hopefully eventually here in the next year or so, I'll develop some kind of speaker system. I've already made it work. Or the other thing is you put it through a soundboard and you turn down the tone. If you turn down the tone, you're totally fine.
Okay.
Weird, eh?
Yeah.
Because it's the tone that triggers the microphone.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, it is. It took me a lot of experimentation to figure all this out.
Wow. I'm amazed at what you guys can do with all this. It's fascinating. Well, listen, you're making a real difference. It's amazing.
Well, I'm looking forward to when people such as yourself and others can have access to the technology. And when you're empowered, you guys are going to knock out some amazing stuff.
Well, I feel that already. I do feel that already because I've been playing with this, and I'm making tools. And I must admit, for me, I'm making stuff that suits me. Because that's what it's for, right? It's like that inaccessible whatever, and I think, well, okay, I'll just make one myself. I'll make my own tool, and it works.
Yeah.
And you think, wow. And I don't know. I don't know how it feels for you, but for someone like me who's new, and I'm very much a vibe coder. I'm not a coder. I know nothing about coding. So I am trusting it entirely. We talked about it on the show. I made a little add-on for NVDA called Item Chooser, which essentially gathers all the elements of a web page or a window or whatever, and then just creates it in a list so that I can just easily search for the download button, is always the classic. And, so I could just type in DOWN and it would just, arrow down and there's the download button, hit enter, and I'm action on it. And it was a really powerful thing. So simple, right?
Yeah.
And I made that. That was my first project I ever made with Claude, and I could have wept that evening. I was so happy that this, not only that it was possible, but it actually worked.
That's awesome.
Greatest day, right?
That's awesome.
That's us blind people helping each other out now. We're able to create tools to do that. It's
an exciting future. It really is.
Yeah, it is. But it doesn't get away from the need for people like yourself, because we need innovation. It can't just be iterations of other ideas. And that's why we need you as developers to keep this up.
Yeah, because the one thing that everybody says about AI is that it's not going to come up with new ideas. It's going to be empowered people like you and people like me and people in your audience to come up with the new ideas. Because it's just going to rehash. I mean, like I did I did an email client, and there's been so many email clients that when I asked it to do it, it put things in the email client that I never thought of. Right? Because it'd done it so many times.
Yeah.
It just knew it by hand.
Yeah, that's right.
I've run into that a couple of times. But if you came up with, say, a totally new thing, like you're talking about, I'm glad that it worked. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What did that work through? Chrome?
So that's an NVDA add-on. So you connect it into NVDA. This is something that might interest you as well, because of course NVDA has add-on capability, right? So you can essentially bolt extras on scripts, essentially, that get added on to NVDA to allow you to do other functions. So one example, which I use a lot, is one called Explorer. So the capital X for anyone who's interested in this. So capital X, Explorer. And what you do is when you open up the File Explorer for the first time and you tab to the file list, what you often have is the NVDA cursor will land on the area, but it won't land on a folder, let's say. Let's say you had a folder in there called Stephen's Documents, right? It wouldn't say Stephen's Documents. It would just land you in the area, and you'd have to arrow down to essentially select Stephen's Documents folder. That's annoying. So
it is annoying.
I just want to tab from the sidebar into the folder list and just get straight to that folder. And that's what Explorer did. It just grabs focus on the first thing. So it's just a tiny little script which made a tiny little UI change, but it was just enough to save one keystroke, just make things a little bit more efficient. That's what an add-on is. Yeah,
okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, I bet that must have been a real eye-opener. I know, well, pardon the pun, but...
we hear that one a lot, don't worry. We hear that one a lot. But no, I got into NVDA a couple of years ago. I was a JAWS user because I was in work and I was doing all this kind of stuff and I had access to it. Now I don't. And so I was testing out NVDA and I found it so powerful because it's such a rich community, as you've probably found. Being open source, being community-led,
open-minded.
And open-minded, absolutely. So, you have all these ideas that people can just create. And of course, with vibe coding now, it's just opening up the door for all kinds of ideas.
Yep.
But that shouldn't change the core mission of new ideas. And for that, you do need proper developers like you.
Well, I think the one thing that will help a lot is it's going to drop the price. That's part of the reason that I put the price at $35. I'm convinced that nothing against a lot of these programs are out there, but these $2,000 subscription programs, they've got some serious competition now.
They do. Yeah, absolutely.
They do. And they might, and a lot would say they should. So it's going to drop pricing like you want. When you can make your own Windows 360 the program Office Suite with like 1 million tokens, which is like $30, and it's totally customizable to you.
Yeah.
Darn tootin'.
Christopher, thank you so much for coming on. I wish you all the best with it and your new products as well. Come back soon.
Thank you, Stephen.
Well, did you enjoy that? If you want more, all you got to do is subscribe. Go on, hit the button you know you want to. Hit it now. And of course, hit that like button as well. Thank you for watching Double Tap.